Honey, I must admit that the names that have surfaced in Diddy's trial are already startling. But Prince's inclusion on that list was absolutely not on my bingo card. Yes, we are aware that Diddy hosted some of his wildest parties at Prince's mansion, according to what Jason Lee said.
First Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security in the party.
But here's a twist. What if Prince had the cameras rolling the entire time? He was known for being private, calculating, and always in control. So, what if he had incriminating footage and that's why he never went to the parties? Some people think he may have kept the footage or even given it to someone before he passed away. And now there are rumors that his name might be mentioned in Court Child. This trial is going to go down in history, and I'm here for it all. Of course, a few names have already been mentioned during the jury selection process, and some of them are people we never really expected to make the cut, like Michelle Williams, Lauren London, Mike Myers, and Robert Downey Jr. But then there are other names that we definitely expected to surface, such as Cassie, who filed the first lawsuit. You may recall that Cassie claimed in her lawsuit that Diddy's staff, as well as employees of Bad Boy Entertainment and Diddy's affiliated companies, witnessed many of the things that happened to her, but no one dared to speak up. In fact, Cassie claimed in her lawsuit that these assistants were in charge of giving Cassie gifts following a domestic violence incident and that they would also assist in setting up the freak-offs where everything happened, including by arranging the hotel suites with baby oil and Astroglide. Casey even claimed in a complaint that Diddy's assistant and head of security spotted her after one of the instances and started crying. Therefore, we anticipate that many of these employees will be called anyway. Harve Pierre also made the cut. Pierre persuaded her to take a plane from Detroit to New Jersey, where she was allegedly harassed by Diddy and him. A drug transporter was also mentioned during the jury selection process. Another person on the list is Dallas Austin, and from what I could gather, the producer was a childhood friend of Kim Porter, Diddy's late wife, who became a topic of discussion as people wondered if Diddy had anything to do with her untimely passing. Lorian Gibson also filed a complaint against Diddy to the police in 2007, alleging that Diddy had picked up a chair and threatened her on the set of MTV's Making the Band. Aubrey O'Day was also mentioned, but she has been vocal in her support of Cassie, going public with her accusations against Diddy and accusing him of making inappropriate advances toward her former Danny Dane member. Dawn Richard made the cut as well, but we also know that she sued Diddy in the past, alleging him of SA. According to the lawsuit, Diddy started his alleged tirade when Dawn started filming MTV's Making the Band, using derogatory remarks about the female contestants. Later, when they were working on music, Diddy allegedly made Dawn practice for hours without sleep and exploited her mourning. Richard also claimed she witnessed Diddy get physical with Cassie, while in addition, Michael B. Jordan was also mentioned. But we know he was referenced in Cassie's lawsuit because the two had a flirty relationship in 2015, while the prosecution is likely to summon most of Cassie's exes. Mostly because we know about Kid Cudi, whose car was blown up by Diddy, because he had something going on with Cassie. According to Cassie, she briefly had a fling with Kid Cudi in 2011, when she and Diddy were going through what she called a rough patch. And after she reunited with Diddy, he found some emails between Kid Cudi and Cassie. And that is when he grew progressively angry. In fact, the lawsuit says that Diddy wanted to ensure that Kid Cudi was home with his friend when he blew up his car. And true to his word, Kid Cudi's car did blow up in his driveway. Well, we expect a bunch of other names to come up during the trial, but like I said, Prince was not on my bingo card, and especially not about him allegedly having a tape on Diddy makes me wonder, could this have had anything to do with Prince's death? Could this be the deep, dark secret about his death? Y'all, well, we know that Prince knew a few days before his death that it was the end of the road for him, and he even posted a picture of himself, which contained a since deleted message just when you thought you were safe. In fact, during his final appearance at a party at Paisley Park, just after his reported treatment, and days before his death, Prince reportedly told attendees, "Wait a few days before you waste any prayers." It never made sense that clean living Prince died of an OD, but as he had predicted, Prince passed away at the age of 57 after being discovered unconscious at his Minnesota estate. At the time, health officials concluded that Prince had accidentally taken counterfeit Vicodin, which was laced with a very strong synthetic opioid.
Health problems?
That I don't know, right? What I know is that he was really health conscious. He was a vegan. He didn't abuse alcohol. I didn't know of him abusing drugs. He worked out, so, that also really concerned me because it made me think that, wow, so you mean you do all these things to take care of yourself and you die so young?
So the thing about Prince is that he fought with people a lot before he died, especially over ownership of and control over his music. He waged a career-long battle against any company that he felt stood in the way of artists' rights and money, and allegedly, he paid the ultimate price for that death. Whether Warner Brothers was involved or not with having him UNL alive is still up for debate, but a lot of his fans definitely think that they were involved in his death. See, he was signed to Warner Music in 1977 when he was just 18. And even though the album he released between 1978 and 1981 did not do that well, he was kept on the label as he was regarded as a musician that reflected well on Warner, which at the time was a company that appeared to invest long-term in serious talent. In 1982, 1 year after MTV launched, Prince released more music, and he went top 10 in the US for the first time and became part of a new breed of musicians who understood the power of the music video as a way to market an artist and build their own iconography and mythology. At this point, fans were imitating his appearance, and by 1984, when Purple Rain was released, he was arguably the biggest and most exciting pop star on the planet. However, it got to the point where Prince didn't like that Warner owned and controlled his name and any music released under that name. He even drastically changed his name to symbolize Squiggle, or the artist who was known as Prince. And he was actually quite outspoken about what was going on.
1999, my publishing contract with Warner Chappell expired, thus emancipating the name I was given before birth, Prince, from all long-term restrictive documents.
I had searched deep within my heart and spirit, and I wanted to make a change and move to a new plateau in my life. And one of the ways in which I did that was to change my name. It sort of divorced me from the past and all the hang-ups that go along with it, as it's been well chronicled in deep dispute with my record label. And
which is Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah. We had some issues that were basically about ownership of the music and how often I was supposed to record and things like that. I really searched deep within to find out the answer to whether fame was most important to me or my spiritual well-being, and I chose the latter.
However, Diddy was in collusion with the individuals Prince was exposing, and he and Warner Music Group signed a joint venture agreement that gave the record label a 50% share in Diddy's Bad Boy Records label. As part of the agreement, Warner would market and manage the digital and physical distribution of Bad Boy catalog releases globally, as well as the label's roster of current and former artists. In fact, Diddy stated, "There have been a lot of boutique record labels that come and go, and we're still here." When discussing the agreement, in addition to this, it has been suggested that Prince may have been aware of the freakouts he was having and decided to keep as far away from him as possible. For example, Jason Lee claimed that the first dodgy party he attended was at Prince's house, and that he discovered the oddity that no one was permitted to bring their own security to the party. This is guaranteed that for the next few years, we would have the right financial backing, the right financial structure, and the right partners to remain a force in the music industry.
The first Diddy party I went to was at Prince's house. So you want to go to Prince's house to the Diddy party where Tyrese is performing and Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher are swinging on swings. That is what's happening on the other side of the wall. And so the one thing that makes this party different than a Jamie Foxx party or any other celebrity party that wrangles a bunch of young women or guys or whatever too, is that Diddy didn't let you bring your security.
So, Prince let Diddy throw those infamous parties at his house, no big secret there. But here's where it gets interesting. What if the security cameras were on the whole time? I mean, this is Prince. We're talking about guys, meticulous, private, always a step ahead. What if he kept the footage or even handed it off to someone he trusted? Now, there are whispers that his name might come up in the trial, and that makes you think, right? Maybe the purple one knew more than he ever let on. And maybe this may have caused him his life. Maybe remember, even before Prince's sister Tika Nelson died, she was talking about how Prince told her he was in trouble just a few days before he died. I know there have been talks in the past about how Prince and Tika were never close, but contrary to what people may think, they were actually pretty close. In fact, back in 2018, Tika said that she and her brother were very close growing up, and he was kind of told by her parents that he would have to take care of her. So wherever he went, she had to go too. She also shared that Prince helped save her life by getting her into rehab when she was struggling with substance misuse.
Yes, he did. I had a long time kind of battling those things, and after my father passed, it got really bad. And so I called up Big Bruh to help. He said, okay.
Additionally, Tika recalled the final conversation she had with her brother 4 days prior to his passing in an interview with the Minnesota Star-Tribune about retiring from performing and writing a memoir, saying, "He kept avoiding questions. I kept getting mad. I felt like talking to myself for 2 seconds. He changed the subject, made a joke, and then we'd both laugh. I asked, 'How are you really?' a few times. We know that there was a lot going on with Prince in the days leading up to his death, but whether or not it had anything to do with Diddy is still up in the air. I'm not sure if his name will actually come up in court. We'll just have to wait and see. In the meantime, please share your thoughts about Prince allegedly having a recording of Diddy in the comment section below.